Okay, guys, today is our last chance study guide, a last chance to really get a sense of what's going on. When you look at number 1, I want you to be able to tell me what is happening during these different points. And we've done this question before. Between 0 and 1.5 would be here and here. And what's going on in the graph? It's decreasing. And by the way, this is a function. If you ever saw something like this and it went straight up, and then it went on, this would make it not a function, okay? Just going over that real quick. Then from 1.5 to 4, as we do this is now increasing, okay? And then from 4 to 6, it is a zero slope, which means it is neither decreasing or increasing, okay? Neither going up or down, okay? Number 2, if we need to use our calculator, we should, and making sure we get good at using our calculator again, okay? So, first of all, I'm going to set this up properly. 10 minus 6 over negative 2 minus a negative 1. And this is where you really got to be careful. Look at those negatives. Make sure that they go in the formula properly. Take your time. You have plenty of time for this benchmark tomorrow. All right. Then I get 4 over... I plug this in, I get negative 1. And if you were to plug that bottom in, you would go negative 2 minus a negative 1, and you would have gotten negative 1, okay? I just did it real quick because I knew my integer rules, but you got to make sure you know that, all right? So then I have y equals negative 4x because this equals negative 4, right? Now, go ahead and pick a coordinate. Now, what's interesting, these are all negatives, so this is going to be kind of a tough one. I'm going to pick the 1, negative 2. I plug 1 in here, and I plug in negative 2 here. All right. Negative 2, does that equal negative 4? Because negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. How do I get negative 4 to equal negative 2? Do I subtract or do I add? And it ends up, if I add 2, it'll work. So that ends up being my final answer. Y equals negative 4x plus 2. Number 3, you're going to see about 3 times on the benchmark. You need to make sure you know how to plot the, or how to plug this, how to write this out, the equation, properly. And every equation, linear equation, is going to have your y and your x. Your slope's going to go here, and you know this, and then your y-intercept. Okay? Y-intercept, where does it cross the y-axis? At plus 1. Okay? Then you're going to rise 1 and run 1, and your slope is 1. What if you did this one? You rose 2 and you ran 2, and you put 2 over 2? That's still correct. If you wrote this as an equation, that's still correct too, and the test will know that it's correct as well. Number 4, make sure you need to label your points, and then this is super simple. We've been doing this forever. You're going to go y minus y over x minus x. Negative 4 over negative 2, which equals positive 2. And that is your rate of change. This is your slope, all right? Y equals 2x. Now we got to figure out what our y-intercept is. Plug in the first point. I have 3 for my x and 9 for my y. You see I plugged that point in right there. 3 goes where the x is. 2 times 3 is 6. And it has to get to 9. I know I have to add what to get to 9? 3. So that's my y-intercept. Okay. Number 5. It's kind of tough exactly to see. It almost thinks that that's not a point right there. All right. Don't think that's a point. It's not a point there either. Your points are right here and right here on your intercepts. It's kind of tough to see, but write this in the proper form. Y equals, it's at plus 5. That should not be an issue. Your plus 5 is always your y-intercept wherever it crosses the y-axis. All right, and then it's going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 5. Down 5 means negative. You're going to get these problems wrong if you forget to put your negative sign. And then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down 5 over 7. Number 6, we actually did in class for most of us. If you plug this in, all it cares about is the rate of change. 70 minus 65, 0 minus 2. I get 5 over negative 2. 5 over negative 2. If I plug that in the calculator, I get negative 2.5. And that is my rate of change. Okay? It's going down. Notice these numbers are going down too. Make sure when you notice that on a table that they're going down, that your slope is going to be negative. As these are increasing, these are decreasing, it's going to be a negative. All right. Number 7, we should know how to graph this. We're going to go negative 4, rise 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. And if you wanted to keep going up 1, 2, 3, over 1, 1, 2, 3, over 1, you can give me multiple points on this to give me a straighter line. Now, I hope you're not just copying what I'm doing. I hope you're actually pushing pause or going over the homework and doing this, okay? When I see you tomorrow, hopefully those that watch the video, could you also graph this line on the same graph? And I'll know if you've watched the video if you graph that on there too. Okay? All right, now number 8. Select the ordered pairs, satisfy this function. Okay, we know what this is. This is one of our fancy calculator problems. All right, am I able to put this whole thing in here? Again, I'm going to put this all in the calculator, and then I'm going to plug in my x's, all right? And all my x's are going to get plugged in to make sure you know what you're doing. As I plug in my x's, all of these are going to get plugged in, okay? So let's go over it. 1 divided by 6 times a number plus 6. Now, I'm going to put this first one in here, this negative 6. And I plug all that in, and guess what? It does equal 5. So A is an answer. A does work. They could all work. We got to make sure. Try 6. I plug in 6, and guess what? It equals 7. Is that what we're looking for? It's also an answer. All right, let's keep going. Negative 1. That's not what we want. And then let's try 7. And that's not what we want either. Okay. Number 9, we're doing the same thing. Plug it all in. Plug in the whole equation. It's going to be 8 times a number minus 7. So let's go ahead and plug in our first coordinate. We're going to plug in 8, and we get 57. So guess what? That's an answer. All right. We're going to plug in negative 6 and get negative 55. That doesn't work. We're going to plug in negative 4, and we get negative 39. That's what we want. And we're going to plug in negative 5, and we get negative 47. That's not what we want. Okay? All right, number 10. We're going to make sure this equation has to check out for all of these points for it to work. So let's make sure if it does. So let's delete everything in the calculator. Again, the calculator is heavily used on these kinds of problems. 6 times a number minus 11. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and plug in all our x's to make sure they check out with the y's. So plug in negative 3, and what do I get? Negative 29. Wait a minute, that's not what I want. So guess what? Once 1 doesn't work, the whole table isn't going to work. So let me zoom out. Let's try the next one. I'm going to try the next one, negative 7. So now I'm trying this next table because I know this one doesn't work because the first point didn't work. I plug in negative 7, and I get negative 53. Okay, that works. Let's try now negative 3. Negative 3. I get negative 29. That's what we want. Okay, let's try 4. And it's 13. That's what we want, but it's not correct unless the whole thing works. Try 5, and I get 19. And guess what? Once you find one that works, you're done. That's your table. You're checked out. It's B. All right? All right, we're going to go ahead and put this calculator away now. And let's look at number 11. We went over this in class a little bit. I'm going to zoom in. This one is a little tricky. I have minutes here, and I have distance in meters traveled, okay? How far did she travel in 15 minutes? All right, let's look at 15 minutes. Isn't that going to be right in the middle here? And if I go up here, 15 minutes, ooh, it's going to be right in the middle here. And as I go in the middle here, what's in between 42 and 48? Isn't that 6 digits? So between 42 and 48, half of that's going to be 45. All right, so it's going to be 45 meters. And the next one says, true or false, it takes me 21 minutes to travel 59 meters. 21 minutes is right here. True or false, it's going to take me, it's right here. If we go all the way up, we did this one in class. And we look at this, and I look at this, I say, no, that it says 59 meters. 59 would be more up here. So guess what? That is going to be false. That one's false, okay? Number 12, is it a function? The x's are not allowed to repeat. Nope, not A. Look at the x's here. Nope, those x's are repeating. Not B. Let's look at C. Nope, those x's don't repeat. 7 and negative 7 are not the same. 3 and negative 3 are not the same. And then look at this, zeros and zeros. It's not D. All right, and then number 13, choose all that apply. Is this a function? A. If I draw straight lines through this, throughout the whole thing, it's only going to touch it once. So guess what? Yes, that's a function. All right, let's look at this. Is this a function? Uh-oh. My x values, nope, not a function. Is this a function? Nope, not a function. Or actually, hold up, yeah, x values don't repeat. Yes, and then guess what? This is always a function. That is a linear function. All right, so you're always good with that one. Do the best you can on this. Hopefully you know what's going on. Study it. Look at the other videos too to help you. All right, guys, best of luck tomorrow.